All right, Mike McGroarty here in the nursery. Kind of touch base on a couple of things since we met last week. So I'm standing here next to these lavender twist red bud, and I wanted to show you these things are just trying to flower. That's what's so interesting about this plant, is that it'll make blooms when it has no leaves, so it looks like the blooms are coming right out of the wood. So anyway, you can see the little tiny buds just starting to open up, and get some more warm weather. Those things should be loaded with flowers here in a week or so. We'll walk over here. Over here we got, these are rooted cuttings that we did last summer. Now, there's all kinds of stuff in here, but you can see that these things are just starting to leaf out. They're waking up. But the interesting thing is that I didn't cover these for the winter. This is exactly how they looked all winter. They're in sand and they did just fine. I'm going to redo this bed here in the next few weeks, and I'm going to make it flush with the ground so that they'll overwinter even better. So anyway, let's walk out back and we'll take a peek at what we're doing back there. All right, this was Amber's idea, not mine. She's like climbing the dirt pile. Anyway, I want to show you this dirt pile because we dug this container area and we got this big pile of dirt, and hopefully within the next week we will at least get this turned into a mound that we can landscape, because we're going to fill this thing up with stock plants that we can take cuttings from. Over here, this is the container area that we just put in. That's where all the dirt came from. But what we did, we divided a bunch of daylilies, and after we divided them, we took all the scraps and we took all the pieces of roots and so on. We put them in these 3 boxes just to see what would come up. I've done this before, and I get a lot of plants just from the scraps. Now, this box right here, I've got hardwood purple sand cherry cuttings, and I did this as an experiment, and I learned something important for you and I both. I used coarse sand in here. Coarse sand is fantastic when you're doing intermittent mist because the moisture runs right through the sand. But over the winter, I think these cuttings were drier. On this side, I've got potting soil that's got a lot of bark and so on in it. I mean, if you look at these plants, these sand cherries are all starting to leaf out. They look great. They're going to be rooting at the same time that they leaf out. These that have been in the sand, I think they got too dry, and I don't have high hopes for them. So in these propagation boxes where I am not spraying mist all the time, I'm going to start using potting soil because I think my success rate is going to be higher. But anyways, you can see we filled up this container area. A lot of this stuff, the daylilies and stuff, we divided from stuff I had. But I bought a ton of stuff from customers. All these potentilla right here came from Tammy in Ohio. The blueberries came from Tammy. I've got some coral bells, euchera over there. Those came from Carol in, I think, Indiana. I'm not sure. I can't remember. What else we have in here? We got red twig dogwoods that came from Tammy. There's some mulberry trees. But anyway, there's all kinds of stuff in here. This container area is full. Let me show you these Harry Lauder walking sticks. So these are Harry Lauder walking sticks that I trimmed single stem. They don't look like a lot now, but they'll start you'll see new growth here, and we'll keep everything down below off so they'll look good. This is a green giant arborvitae. We're going to plant these along this container area to act as a bit of a snow fence. So when the wind blows, the snow and leaves both are going to collect in there to give me some winter protection. So we've got green giant, and in between we've got some emerald green. We will also use these trees for propagation. So when we get a nice sized tree, we literally will cut it off, tear it to pieces, get as many plants out as we can, throw away what's left, and then plant a new one in there. So having those there kind of does double purpose. All right, now in these little pots I want to show you here, these are Japanese red maple seedlings. I bought these from Heritage Seedlings in Oregon. You can see they're just starting to leaf out. I think I paid about $1.50 a piece, and that was probably delivered here to Ohio. So great little plant. If I sell these for $4.97, people will go crazy over them. So they're kind of like customer magnets. So anyway, I want to show you those. Maybe we'll take a walk out back. All right, now right in front of me, this is a PJM rhododendron. I had a bunch of them in here, and then I had some open spaces. So last fall I had I ordered 2 batches of those Japanese maples, so I just stuck them in here. So all the way down through here, I've got Japanese maples mixed in with these rhododendrons. Right, you know, this is a different variety. I've got a lot of different varieties of rhododendrons. I'd really like that to get that down to 3. But again, I want these Canadian hemlocks that are behind me. There's actually some red dragon Japanese maples here that I think I got these from Andy up in Maine. And then the Canadian hemlocks, I bought those at an auction in a 1-gallon container 2 years ago for $1.60 a piece. Those things will be there a couple more years, but they'll go for $75 to $100. So anyway, let's wrap it up for this week, and I'll touch base with you next week and figure out what we accomplished.